Coach, obviously not the result you wanted over the weekend. You did make the playoffs because of other results, so it is in some sense mission accomplished. What are you doing to make sure that the team gets back on track so that they can provide the type of soccer that you want for the playoffs?
Yeah, first of all, it was also different emotions at this weekend. For sure, we were very disappointed about the game, about the results, especially, and on the other side, and also that we were satisfied with the qualification for the playoffs. And when we see the big picture, this was good, but more the emotions, to be honest, for the last game. And we had a lot of individual talks. Me as a head coach yesterday with all players, individual talks, and that was great talks, great conversation, very open about the game, about the behavior, about the preparation of the game, what happened during the game, what is now the feeling, and this is necessary also, first of all, to have this open communication with all players, and then for sure the training session will be not the highest load now in the next days, and then to show the reaction, our quality, and what the supporters said after the game, that we were not good enough in this game. I agree 100%, but we are good enough to show reaction. We are good enough also to show our quality and to fight for 3 points.
Michael.
Coach, after last game, you said that Emil Forsberg, you guys followed the plan. He got 25 to 30 minutes as a sub. With this being a short week, and you just saying that's not going to be a large workload in this this training session coming up, do you think fans should be expecting more of the same from that, or do you think that he might be ready to take another step and go a little longer?
Yeah, I'm sure that he can make a next step. We will see how long that will be for the next game, but I'm sure we can handle it, his load, and also, but we have also to be careful because on Saturday is the next game, but it could be that he is able to play longer time.
Anthony?
So some of the mistakes that happened in the game over the weekend, we know that the style is very intense and the season is long. Is there something to the fact that there is some exhaustion in the team, or that there's some mental fatigue in the team, to explain a little bit of what happened over the weekend, and how can you get them then to become refreshed in time for the playoffs?
Yeah, what I said, I would say during the game, for sure, when you make such big individual mistakes like the first 2 goals, and then you come back with a great mentality, and then you concede with 10 players, then the third goal, and I think this was then for us the situation then in this situation then to come back again. This was very difficult, and for sure from the mental side, it seems then for a young team, for our young team, that we had not the best reaction for these mistakes, for sure not. And this was the reason now also, and not to react now after the game or on Sunday very emotional, very angry with the team. How can happen these mistakes? In my opinion and also in my experience, that is the wrong way, because we know that we make mistakes all together, and it's not only the situation of Danny Edelman, it's not only the pass from Carlos Coronel or something. This is all together, and then it's the best way to communicate. It's the best way to communicate with all players, to have the single conversation, to know about his feeling. And then, for sure, then to have a team meeting and to come all together, and then to prepare the next game, because the next game is on Wednesday. And this is then also very good in our life, in sports, that you have very quick now. And you don't have to wait 1 week. You have now the next in 40, I don't know, in 56 hours, could be 60 hours, I don't know. So it's the next game, and this is a big opportunity. And now it's important also not to think about, for sure we want to win, and for our feeling, for our supporters, for the whole club, for sure. But now to think about to create many victories in the game, during the game. So in duels, in sprints, in passing. This is now necessary, important to create our picture, and another picture for sure difference to the last game against New York City.
Mark?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Coach, obviously, as you said, it's a positive thing to have to get back on the field quickly and show the value and be able to prove it on the field. You've had some interesting performances against Toronto, dominating them at home, and then during the Leagues Cup, really kind of a strange match. It didn't kind of go your way. What stands out for you as you get ready on a short turnaround to face Toronto FC?
Yeah, for sure. And for sure, we need also these 2 games for our preparation against Toronto. But they had in the last couple of games the Canadian Final Cup, then Chicago game, a lot of games also during the week, and they had also a lot of rotations in their starting lineup. And but we need as well our 2 games. We need another games to prepare our team now in the best mood, in the best way for Wednesday.
Joe Pantorno on Zoom.
Hey, Sandro, I just wanted to go back to Emil Forsberg there for a second. Do you foresee a future where he would be able to give you guys a full 90 come playoff time? Thanks.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure, and this is what we have to build up now. But it's also important not to think now when his first game now in the starting lineup. Okay, Emil Forsberg will solve now any situation in our defense, any situation in our offense. That's too easy, and it's also not his own responsibility. It's the responsibility for me as a head coach, for the whole team on the field, and that we don't have these thoughts. But I'm sure when we can build up him with more minutes, with more training session, team training session, I'm sure that he's then also in this season and then also in the playoffs able to play 90 minutes.
Dan Feuerstein on Zoom.
Good afternoon, Sandro. I hope you're doing well. If I can ask you this, I guess the only bright spot from the last match was Dante Van Zier scoring the goal to make it 2-1 at that particular point in time. Do you feel now that he's now back to where he should be and he could go on a run here for you guys and leading into the playoffs?
Yeah, Daniel. I would say yes, because we had also a lot of talks, a lot of conversation in the last couple of weeks, and his reaction is very good after he was 2-3 times on the bench, and this is then also necessary to have these competitions on each position, and we have this competition now with Lewis Morgan, then Julian Hall, 16 years old, Corey, Eli, Dante now, and it's good to see this reaction. It's good then also that he scored for the whole team, and this is what we need at the end for sure, for the strikers to have this behavior in situations, in special moments, then also to able to score.
Put a Michael in the room.
Coach,
Yeah.
just because you asked, it was 94 to 96 hours between games. That's what you guys are working with right now.
Your calculator is very good.
You guys have 2 games this week, and then you have a week of training before before hosting Columbus on Decision Day. Just what does that mean to you that you can get your business done this week, and then you can get all your attention on that last day of the season? Like you can focus on how much you can do with the team, like in these next 2 games, and then with the final game of the season, with how important that could be, with how important it might not be. Like how critical is that for you?
Yeah, in my mind, is also for sure we have to think about the main part is the Wednesday game against Toronto, then to think about Saturday on turf in Atlanta. So, but these are the main focus now, not to think about now the training session next week in this national break or then Columbus, the decision day. So I would say, especially after the last game, to be honest, is to show another face, to show a reaction, and then this is the main part and the main focus for Wednesday. And the training session could be not the highest load now in this week because of these both games on Wednesday and Saturday, and this is the main focus now. Mm-hmm.
We'll go to Gary on Zoom.
Coach, not to bring back what you said previously, based on what we've seen from Twitter and everything else, many fans voicing their opinions about the team. Just want to know if the players were aware of how much of a debacle it was on that game, and then moving forward, they want to be able to see a much better performance for a team that a lot of people believe are much better than what happened on Saturday.
For sure, everyone, and we can also understand that people are angry and disappointed in this derby when we lost 5-1, and this is normal, and this is then also necessary to have this atmosphere. To be honest, and this is nothing special for me, and. But on the other side, and this is also very clear with the young team, with our identity, with our philosophy, to make the turnaround, it always that we need all together. This is clear. It's not, and that is also important for our team. It's not the single player can make a turnaround or something like that. All together, and I'm sure, to be honest, I'm sure that all our supporters, they have also then the same feeling when we are coming in the next home game in our stadium, that they have also the same feeling. Okay, we have to support our team because this is our, and we were also very successful, and that we are not good enough because I heard about this also, and I read it in the stadium. That's clear. So and. That's true. We were not good enough on this day, but it doesn't mean that we are not good enough and we were not good and we have the qualification for the playoffs because we deserved it as well, because we played a lot of games very well. We missed some wins after missing chances, and we played too much draws for sure. And what I can say is, so I can understand, I agree, and also the whole team, they can understand it also when we have this atmosphere after the game. That's normal. But now, clear direction to the next opportunity on Wednesday, and I'm sure then also our supporters have a very good feeling for this big picture, especially for our young group and also for our identity.
Follow-up question, if I may?
For sure, Gary. For me,
okay.
Something.
Because it's such a young squad, because these mistakes sometimes happen throughout the entire season. Do you feel that it's somewhat of a liability, or you're not too convinced you've been able to straighten things out as we get closer and closer to the end of the season?
Yeah, it's a long season. It's a long season, and we can also here in the press conference to talk about very open. For sure, after the break, we didn't come in the flow like before. By starting mid-season, and the last win is Cincinnati, and then some injuries, national break. We didn't come in our rhythm with the whole team. We missed some players, then some draws, too many draws in these situations, and for sure that is something then also in a mindset for young people, for young players, for the young group, and but at the end we can change it. No one can change it. We can change it with our daily work, with our atmosphere in the building, with our atmosphere on the training pitch, and also on match day. So no one can change it. We can change it on the field. And I'm sure when we make the first step with the whole group, and I'm sure our supporters will be with us, and especially, and this is a big chance. And I agree with the young group. It's sometimes it's normal. It's human to make these mistakes. But at the end, it's also a big challenge and a big opportunity for everyone individual to make a big step. So to come all together and to have this turnaround. This is big, and this is then the opposite, to see this big chance. And we can talk a lot. We can talk a lot about what was the last game. I agree everything, but we used the time yesterday to talk a lot about that. Now it's also done. The next situation, the next pass, the next duel is on Wednesday evening against Toronto.
Speaking of Toronto, we have Brendan Dunlap.
Hey, Coach. Thanks so much for letting me in on the call. I'm doing the home radio broadcast. So going to your point about not being good enough and not performing to a level, Toronto FC have certainly been that. They've got some very dangerous pieces in Bernardeschi and Insigne, who haven't played to the level that those fans have wanted either. In preparing your team for a game like that, and a team that knows they're not playing at the level and playing at home in a must-win game for them, just what makes things a little different about having this match at this point in the season and it being their penultimate game? Kind of what are you expecting from Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto, it is, I think they have now 37 points, I think, 37, 38, 37 points, 2 games to go in this week, our game, and then I think on Saturday the home game against Inter Miami. So the situation is clear. They have to win. We want to win, and we have also to win for ourselves. So, but it doesn't change now something in our preparation or something like that, or in our how we analyze. We played 2 times against them. They have 2 times different structures against us. In the first game in the league was with 3 center backs most of the time. Bernardeschi as a right wing back and to swim sometimes in this position. And in the Leagues Cup was more 4-4-2 with Insigne as a striker. So this is our preparation, especially what I said at the beginning of the press conference also, to prepare all the other games in the last weeks. But nothing changed now for our preparation because of the situation of Toronto. It's more something changed in our preparation because of our last game, I would say.
Last 2, we'll go Anthony in the room first.
So, Coach, there's a big old clutter of players that are now healthy in the midfield. You know, obviously Carvalho coming in, Doncourt, now Forsberg, Stroud. How can you fit all of these players onto the field at any given point to make sure that they're giving you what you need as you approach the playoffs?
Very good question, and I'm convinced about we need this competition. And I said this the whole season. I got sometimes the question about some players, single player, and we need this competition. And and we have on 6th position very good players, and now we have 3 games in this week, and we need this competition, and we need this. But at the end, we need every player. And we showed this. We need everybody. We had a lot of injuries, and if you see now, for example, our back 4, center backs, full backs. So in this situation, this position, it's very clear. Our 10th position was most of the time very clear. But now to come back now with Emil, it's very good, especially with his quality, with his leadership is very good. So, and this is what we need. We need this competition. Also for the players, it's important. And I had very good conversations yesterday. And this is also good for the players, and they told us as well. That's good to have these competition, this pressure also when it's come from inside, and this is what we need. So and my responsibility is to make the decision, to explain the decision to the guys, and this in this case we have a clear communication, and then we need every player, and all these guys know this in the locker room, on the training field, on match day. They feel it as well. We need every player to be successful.
Last question from Christian on Zoom.
Good afternoon, Coach. After the match against NYCFC, it was said that NYCFC played to the Red Bull style, giving them a taste of the Red Bull's medicine. Would you? How does that game prepare you when you're facing other teams that are playing the same way against the Red Bulls? And do you see any changes?
I would say we have a lot of teams, and I don't want to talk now. This is the Red Bull style for all other teams. I would say most of the teams, to be honest, they want to play intensive and they pressed also in some moments in a higher position in New York City. But this is not now. I'm afraid about that. Or other teams, they are playing now the Red Bull system. We have our clear idea, and we have our clear idea in all clubs from of Red Bull, and we can handle these situations better when especially the last game when New York City pressed in some moments higher, but it was not now the highest pressing from the opponent. Why we made these mistakes? We played backwards. So and I don't want to talk about only about Carlos Coronel, to be honest, because we have a couple seconds before the situation where we can play forward, and then we play backwards, and this was the main part in this game. Then a little bit afraid of the situation, we struggled in a lot of moments. We played backwards, and the second goal, that was we had our situation. We can have the next cross from the right side. We play back and then back, but for me this was not now because of Red Bull style or something like that. This was some mistake, and that can happen, and it was bad for us that these mistakes happen in a game, especially in a derby game.